Now, the trends that you're seeing with corporations, just so you know, they reflect a change in public opinion. And many of you thought this would never happen in our lifetime. You thought, well, it's just going to continue getting more and more progressive, more and more liberal socially, and maybe we'll have a Republican who kind of has to be moderate socially. No, that's not what's happening. Speaking of gay.
Why?
It is Pride Month. Mm-hmm. It is that. Do you have the Pride facts? There you go, National Coming Out Day.
No, why would you?
That's right.
It's Pride Month. And last year we kind of did cover it, but no one really cares anymore. And we're going to get to some interesting statistics that there's backlash now, not just on the T, but even the LGB. People are getting tired of having this shoved down their throat. Remember back in the day when people say, there is no agenda. Well, now people know that there is actively an agenda.
A legit agenda. It's like written with bulletin points.
Yeah, exactly.
You can buy it from a store.
They're rejecting it. This is a whole month that we're supposed to celebrate. Well, you know, look, it's a family-friendly month. It's a family-friendly affair that consists of homosexuals dancing naked and fornicating on floats. It's the most wonderful time of queer.
As I was coming to my office this afternoon here at 30 Rockefeller Center, I noticed the pride flags flying outside Rockefeller Center because this is Pride Month. And we should celebrate people celebrating themselves.
What? We're going to get into the history of this, by the way.
On the way to my office, I saw some banana hammocks.
It's like the Christmas parade with Santa's ball.
Queen's Pride Parade, where people come out not only to
Jingle
march and
balls.
celebrate the
I saw a man with a nice
community,
rack.
but also to take advantage of doing so within the Queens community, which, as we know, is widely considered the most diverse
So
borough.
many poppers.
This year's theme is Defiant Joy.
What? Is that a chai boy? What is that?
Is that a
Native American?
Native American trans? You know, it's just like every other parade, like St. Patty's, like your Christmas parade, like 4th of July, right?
You think they're stuffing, or is that natural?
He was gay. He died of AIDS. So
Surprise.
I'm continuing to support the mission.
It's never too early to be an ally.
This morning. Where's a theater when you need
407 cocks ago.
It was a lover's spat at Ford's Theater.
I love how they compare this to civil rights, the emancipation, transclamation. It's like, look, this is not the same thing at all. The idea that men and women are just as interchangeable as a black guy and a white guy, it's silly. It defies logic. And here's the thing. This is all by design. You wonder, hey, maybe it's just a few. No, it's every city in the country that has a gay pride parade. You have to make sure that your children, comment below, you have to make sure your kids are nowhere near it. And then they berate you for saying, well, I think you're maybe coming for the kids. Why? Because you're hosting a parade which kids naturally like.
Yes.
And that's what it is. This is by design.
Our kids' school.
Yeah.
So
let me give you just kind of a briefer, and all references are available, link in the description, on gay pride and the very subversive origins. So the early gay rights Mattachine Society was, by the way, this is something that is known, it's not infiltrated by the Communist Party of the United States. One of the organizers of the first gay pride parades in 1970, Craig Rodwell, said, I learned from my Sunday school teacher that the official church stance on homosexuality was negative. I knew that someday, somehow, I would help challenge the teachings in the Christian Science movement.
Hold on, I just want to correct negative to sin. It's sin. So what you learned is that God believes that homosexuality is sin.
Yes. So this is something that has been by design. In other words, they didn't say, hey, it's just time to come out and let people know that we're gay. What we do in our own... Can you guys point me to any basic heterosexual parade that is... Maybe there are some now after 50 Shades of Grey. I have no idea. But Santa parade, St. Patrick's Parade, 4th of July, where what you just saw wouldn't be a sex crime? You know that, right? That would be indecent exposure. If I were to do that, if anyone here were to do that at the 4th of July, get in a thong and start humping a man on a float and pull it down, as you saw, we have to blur, we would be on the sex offenders list. We'd have to notify all of our neighbors.
I think the only one is Mardi Gras, and I think it's limited to a certain area of the town.
Yeah, it's usually at night, and people are not bringing children to throw their beads at them. This is across the country every year, and it's by design. Now, here's the good news. The tides are turning, both with corporations, because you've made your voices heard, and socially. You're seeing this Gen Z males, when we've talked about this, they're not just conservative as far as taxes, they're conservative on social issues. the left and the LGBTQ, the Gestapo, have overreached so much that now people are saying, well, where did we go wrong? And I'll get to where people are sort of coming to a conclusion. So in 2025, 39% of corporations said that they plan to reduce pride engagement. 0 companies said that they would increase it. The top reasons given were, pressure from the Trump administration. But then the second top reason was pressure from conservative activists or consumers, 39%, meaning they're getting pressure. When they say activists, they mean you. They mean the voter. And just so you know, I have been doing this since 2009. One of my very first stand-up bits was about the Gay Pride Parade. When I was 18, I was banned from a college for it. I've always been consistent in opposing the Gay Pride celebrations.
Wait a minute. Are you sure about that?
People can go back to 2008, Blue Bed Sheet.
Okay. Fine, Tim. Yeah, roll it.
And I thought it was a really good PSA. Hillary Duff said it right. When you say that's gay, do you mean what you say? Do you know what it is you're saying? Like, it's an entire group of people to be denigrated with just their sexual practices used as a pejorative.
Yeah, it's totally normal.
Yeah, it's completely. I mean, it's just as there are plenty of societies that do it. It's completely natural.
Yeah, dolphins.
Yeah, dolphins, ducks. It's just there's nothing. Maybe I don't like it. But it's not, but it's not, well, I don't know why we take an entire group of sodomites and just they deserve better. And you know what? Love is love.
That's right.
What this is taken out of context. You can take anything out of context.
Is important.
You agreed, Gerald.
Yeah.
You agreed with him.
Yeah, no one
stop.
I think we should just say fag instead of
But
gay.
I do think the style should make it come. I love the upside down
Thank
visor.
you. Appreciate that.
You look like the grandma on Family Matters. So
Loretta!
I lean in and I'm like, a compliment.
parents have to say no. Gerald gets to say yes. It's a deep cut. Now, the trends that you're seeing with corporations, just so you know, they reflect a change in public opinion. And many of you thought this would never happen in our lifetime. You thought, well, it's just going to continue getting more and more progressive, more and more liberal socially, and maybe we'll have a Republican who kind of has to be moderate socially. No, that's not what's happening. So to give you an idea, people's view on biological men competing in women's sports, it has now gone high to 75%.
Yeah.
Oppose it.
Good.
Only 25% support it. 75% oppose it. And I've had so many, and you can comment below if this is you, I've had conversations with so many people who used to be liberal and then obviously became kind of more conservative during COVID. I've seen just this huge conversion, a mass conversion of a number of people I've never seen in my life. And they've said to me, they said, you know, the trans, it's obviously too far. I go, well, where do you think we went wrong? When do you think we opened the floodgates? Because we didn't just get here.
Right.
And every time you have the conversation, they go back and they go, yeah, after the same-sex marriage thing, it accelerated really, really rapidly. No one's talking about what you do in your own bedroom. No one's trying to stop that. And if you want to talk about civil unions, okay, fine. But we effectively said that men and women were fundamentally interchangeable. And we said there's no real value to a man and a woman. We can just have two men. We can just have two women. Well, now people have looked back, and statistically, you're seeing in the polls, support is falling consistently. For the first time in Gallup polling's history now, you are seeing support for same-sex marriage go down. People saying, you know what? We might have been wrong about that. And you comment below, because a lot of libertarians, love is love, but we realize that's not what marriage is anymore. How can you say yes to this and there's no slippery slope and then say, no, but we can't have biological males competing in women's sports? I don't think it's a logically tenable position. Fun fact, when you search for pride history on Google now, Gemini directs you to the now defunct, to give you an idea how much momentum has been lost, the Joint Base Andrews website.
It's gone.
AI is going to overtake us all.
Whoops.
And
Come on, Air Force.
I will tell you this. Look, it's one of those things where if you said it back in the day, you were hateful, you were a bigot, you were a homophobe, it was a third rail. Everyone was afraid to say, hey, you know what, actually, I don't think same-sex marriage is ideal. You know who was against it? Elton John. He actually agreed with Rush Limbaugh saying, yeah, I think we should have civil unions.
Yeah.
And marriage is a heterosexual institution. And I remember actually.
The church institution. That was the foundation of the argument.
I've been consistent on this, took a lot of flack for it back in the 2010s. And actually, I believe this is an interview where I think Dave Rubin, who's a friend of the show, was surprised on my position.
You're married to a woman, aren't you? So I'm pretty sure you're pro-woman.
I'm not you, Dave. I'm married to a woman. That's what marriage has always been.
Oh, right. We'll get to that one, too.
Oh, there was another, I think we have another clip. There was the explanation of men and women, why we actually have marriage being recognized in this country. Just so you understand, marriage in this country, the reason we recognize it is because before state government, before federal government, before municipal government, we said we need to have self-governance, and that means strong nuclear families.
Yep.
So I don't like the church being in the marriage running business. I understand that, especially now with no-fault divorce and how things have changed, where it's no longer a covenant as it used to be. But since marriage does exist in this country, why? It exists for the rearing of children. Do we have that clip? Yeah, this is back then.
So you would be okay under those circumstances with gay marriage, right? I think you're making the argument for gay marriage, right?
No, I'm not. I'm making the argument that government shouldn't be involved in it, and if states want to...
I think you just made... That sounded like a pretty...
No.
That sounded like a pretty solid argument.
No, because the reason was men, women, children, because they said mommy, daddy, kids, that's how we want to build American society. You may not like that culture, just like I hate crappy Mexican culture with the highest murder rate of anywhere else in the history of ever. I think it's a bad culture. You might not like that American culture, but that's a part of the culture here, and it's always been that way. And I don't think it's invalid for someone to say, well, marriage isn't a right, it's a contract, and these are the terms of the contract, and it's always been, up until now, a man and a woman. That's not authoritarian, that's business.
And back then, boy, you should have seen the comments light up. I can't believe this. I thought you were a libertarian. Yeah, I get it. Something about weed and Bitcoin. But I've been very consistent on this. Now, there are still some holdouts, some corporations that are going all in on pride. They're not increasing it, but they're not pulling back. Disney, Major League Baseball, Sesame Street, if you can believe it, of course you can. Target, yeah, of course. And Levi's.
Gay!
Yes.
Was that multiple Levi's saying that?
Nice pull, Billy.
Levi's makes sense, though. I mean, gay dudes love a good pair of jeans.
Yes, they do.
So do I.
Get into another man's pants.
I don't think they're going. I don't think
I
they're
also
going
love
to
baseball.
I know.
And Disney.
It's going to be tough for you. It's going to be a tough month.
Am I gay?
You're not.
They want you to think you're gay. But here's the good news. If you are, there's a little guilt by association here. The Satanic Temple wishes you a happy Pride.
Oh, well, thanks,
there you go.
Satan.
Very
Oh,
nice.
Have a biblical Pride Month.
Hold on, that's like the tip-off. If we ever accidentally end up on the same side as the Satanic Temple, shouldn't we be like, well, hold on. Just
Well, I mean,
need to take a look
you
at where I
can't-
am.
That's a blanket statement. What if the Satanic Temple is a big fan of mashed potatoes? You can't be like,
Well, then
we got to
they're
write
wrong.
off the Satanic
That's
Temple.
true. I don't think they're advocating for mashed potatoes as much.
Nah, well, I mean,
I tend to try and go the other direction, but you're right. You're right. There are some. I'm
Just
sure
an
there's some
example.
Satanists who are nice. They're lapsed Satanists.
Satan's whole thing was pride. Of course he's going to be for the month celebrating pride.
yeah, isn't pride a deadly sin?
Yeah, it's one of them.
Well, sort of.
It's one of them.
Not deadly.
And so's, by the way, so's gluttony, especially when applied to wieners. Nom, 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 nom. Gluttony for cocks.
Oh,
It's not
glutton,
good.
glutton, glutton,
It is not
It's
good.
the sound they make.
The Nathan's hot dog eating contest is not in June, is it?
It's not. No, I don't.
Yeah,
The
you're a
symbolism
glizzy
is
glutton,
too-
aren't you?
Yeah. I prefer sausage. I do, just not like that.
That's the Kobayashi float.
Yeah.
YouTube's is something you're not allowed to say according to the guidelines. I was quoting the guidelines. I'm glad you're still here. It means you watched this video all the way through. Oh. It says here that Rumble, where you can go follow my channel, lets you say pretty much anything, provided it's not illegal. That reminds me of, what does it remind me of? Oh, yeah. YouTube, pre-2015. Go on and follow me there. I'm live, 11 a.m. Eastern, weekdays. Don't call YouTube a Oh, it's just a different way of saying it's